Abbie, how long have you been with us here at William Hill?
Okay, so I've been at William Hill for 3 years now, cut up to the month, near enough. I've done 2 different roles, just started my new role in the last month.
Tell us about your role at the moment then, what are you doing?
So I've just been fortunate enough to get a bit of a promotion. I'm now an in-play trader manager, senior manager, sorry. And before that I was just an in-play trader for the tennis team.
So tell us a bit about your background.
I was quite lucky really. I was working for a company called Opta who did a lot of the football analysis, and I was doing that part-time while I was at university for about 3.5 years. And I kind of reached that point at life where it's like, oh, I've graduated from uni, I need a real job. So I was just looking online and this job came up, and I think what caught my attention was it was live sport and it was maths related. One of the criteria was to do a maths test to get the job, and I'd always backed myself because I always liked maths at school, and I carried that on at university. So I thought, well, there's no harm in trying it. And once I did the test, it kind of left me quite interested in what could come of it. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get invited down for an interview and got the job.
And obviously being from a sporting background or liking sport yourself is a massive advantage in a job like yours.
Oh, 100%. To me, a lot of the time it doesn't feel like work what I'm doing, and it didn't at Opta and it doesn't here, because just working in live sports, it's such a rush, and it's something that I've always played a lot of football and played a lot of sport, did a sports science degree at university, so to me it's just an extension of what I do in my spare time, and that's actually what I'm getting paid to do for my job, which is fantastic.
And what are the best things about working here at William Hill?
I think having that opportunity to, like I say, be in that live sport and environment, you don't really get a buzz like it, I don't think, from a lot of other roles that I've done, or other being particularly in academia. I also think it's really interesting that we get to have an opinion and we're allowed to kind of run with that opinion. We're not there's no black and white guidelines for us to say you must do this or you must do this. We kind of go out, take an opinion, and ultimately the outcome is on our shoulders, but I think that responsibility that's interesting to me and something that I really enjoy.
Are there any things that maybe aren't quite so great about working here?
Unfortunately, tennis runs 24 hours a day, different parts of the world. So we need to be fully staffed at all times. So having to do the night shifts, they come round about once every 25 weeks possibly. They're not great, and obviously we have some unsociable shifts starting at like 3-4 a.m. when the tennis is out in Asia, or you could be in here till about 2 o'clock in the morning if it's out in America. What's
an average day or week look like in your life then?
As a trader, it's pretty straightforward in that we come in and we'll get given, I don't know, anywhere from like 10 to 20, 22 matches a day. And then you'll be responsible for just pretty much getting those matches out on site. You're looking at the pre-match prices, formulating what you're going to do when you take the match in play, seeing those through to completion, and it's pretty much like repeat 20 times.
And if you're giving someone advice looking at a career in William Hill, especially in the trading department, what advice would you give them?
I think the biggest advice that I would say to anyone is don't be put off by the stigma attached to the industry. Obviously it has quite a lot of negative connotations in the press at the minute. But I think the biggest thing for me is looking past that and seeing what the job is actually about when you break it down. And to me, it's about sport. It's about live sport, particularly that high pressure environment, that buzz. And I think also, like I said before, the math side of it is quite appealing, because if you're someone that's more numbers based and slightly more analytical, that is ultimately what this job is. It's using that, and I think a lot of people might not associate that with this sort of career. But yeah, I'd say it is, so do it.
Can you tell us about some of the things that you have to take into consideration when you're about to trade an in-play tennis match?
I think one of the biggest things that we really have to think about is like the opponents that are playing. So like the other day we had Kyle Emmon playing and an English player. I think there's a lot of interest from our client base on the English players. You want to back the Brits, you want them to do well, and we tend to see a lot more money coming in on that side of a tennis match as opposed to maybe the opposition, and that's probably despite the market price or despite the current set, because obviously we're in play. It's kind of irrelevant of the score as well. People just want to back the British players, so we can use that to our advantage, and we can slightly change our prices so that if we're taking more money on the English players, we're getting a nice green book on the other side, so to speak. So having to balance that off is one of the bigger things that we do, but that's all kind of each trader takes on that in a different way, and I think that's what's good. We get the responsibility to have our own opinion on that and take that on how we like.
You talk about that buzz. What is that buzz? Is it the kind of the punter versus the bookie? What is it that gives you that rush that you experience?
Yeah, definitely. That rush is 100%. You want to walk away having done really well on the match and having won on the match, because it feels personal, like you just said. obviously we are assessed on our figures at the end of the year, so any win that you can get, it is a personal achievement, and that can be that can go the other way as well, as in like if a match doesn't go too well and you end up losing, that might not necessarily have been down to the decisions you made. Sometimes it's sport, it's out of your control. You don't know if someone's going to start having an injury or tanking a match or whatever. You've just kind of got to go with that. But that personal achievement kind of stays with you day to day, and that carries on week to week, month to month. You're always looking at your trading reports. You always want to know how well you've done, and particularly how well you've done against the punters.
I mean, some parts of the bookmaking industry tend to be quite male dominated. What's it like in your department?
Yeah, I think we're definitely also feeling that. We've got probably a team of about 35 maybe at the minute, and there's only 2 females, and one of us is part-time. So I think we're definitely lacking some female support in that area, and I think it's really important that people kind of realise it's not just a male industry, and it's not just a job for males. Like, females have all of the skill set that we need to kind of do the same job. It's very much not, it's not a job driven by gender, it's just a job driven by interest in sport for me, and just really wanting to be part of something that's high pressure and high intensity, because that's what trading is.